there, everyone. Meteorologist Cody Proctor here in the KREM 2 studio for us tonight. We have a weather impact alert as we head into our Tuesday. And let's just say that things are certainly concerning as we head into the next few days. But tomorrow is our biggest day that we are watching some of these fire weather concerns. So let's talk about our weather impact alert that we have right now. What we're keeping track of as we head into our Tuesday are dry and gusty conditions tomorrow, paired up with some very warm temperatures well above our seasonal average. We are looking at the possibility for rapid fire growth if a fire were to start during this time period. Watching that pretty closely just because it has already been very dry this season. So we'll talk more about why we're seeing this, why we are seeing these fire weather concerns and why we have this weather impact alert. But let's talk about today just a bit for just a moment, because take a look at this. We were warm for your Monday. So far, we managed to top out at 89 degrees over at the Spokane Airport. Now, to put that into perspective, our average for this time of year is 73 degrees. So this is well above our seasonal average. At least for the most part, it didn't quite reach our record that we had back in 1999, where they saw a high of 93 degrees that day. For us, we're just a few degrees short of that record. And you know, after some of the heat and after some of the dry conditions that we've had, I'm okay not breaking any records for today. Now, I do want to note that as far as our precipitation for today, hardly anything. Not surprising considering we haven't really been tracking any showers recently for us. But as you can see, compared to our precipitation to date so far, we've only had about 6.3 inches of precipitation so far since the beginning of the year. In comparison, our average precip to date is usually around 8.7 inches. So we are a couple of inches shy of our average for this time of year. So as you can see, it is dry outside. But let's talk about right now as we take a look at some of our current conditions outside. We've been keeping track of some partly cloudy skies. Lots of sunshine's been seen as well around our region, but the wind certainly has been going. You can see it over there at Lake Coeur d'Alene. Just a reminder though, that water is still rather chilly if you are planning on enjoying any time out in the water and out on the lake. Our temperatures for this evening, around 86 degrees for us tonight. Those winds coming out of the west-southwest at 13 miles per hour. You can see though that relative humidity is only around 19%. So it is dry for us this evening. Now, as we take a look around our region though, we're not even the warmest ones on the map. As you can see here, while Spokane may be at 86 degrees, Coeur d'Alene at 82 and Sandpoint at 81, you can see Othello, Moses Lake, Wenatchee, all much warmer in the low 90s right now. Wenatchee still at 93 degrees. Ritzville cool down into the upper 80s. That's a slight cool down from what we were seeing hours ago. 89 degrees in Omak, 73 in Moscow, 89 in Walla Walla. As you can see though, for some of us, we've also been keeping track of some breezy winds here and there across our region. For Spokane, we're seeing 13 mile per hour winds. Coeur d'Alene, Deer Park, 9 mile per hour winds. Moses Lake is at 16. Wenatchee is at 14. Calmer conditions though throughout parts of our region. Enjoy this while we have it, because we have some changes moving in for our Tuesday. And you can kind of see some of it as we take a look at our satellite and radar map. Now, for the most part for today, while many of us had partly cloudy skies, we've just been pretty quiet for the most part. We've got this ridge of high pressure right here that has been building up for us, and that's been bringing us more of our warm temperatures from the last few days. We've just been consistently above our average for this time of year. Now, that ridge is right here. You can kind of see that bump as it forms, but we're also keeping track of some changes moving into the British Columbia right here, and there might be that's what's bringing us that chance for some changes in our forecast. So let's talk about it. We are looking to see warm and dry conditions pretty much all week long for us. Expect our highs to be mostly into the 80s for us this week. Then we've got Tuesday, tomorrow. That's when we start to see those winds pick up for us, potentially for much of our region, particularly and towards Spokane. We could see some wind gusts of about 45 miles per hour. We also have red flag warnings for your Tuesday. Now, as we take a look at our weather outlook for the next few days, you can see that as far as things shape out for us into next week, we're just going to be hanging on to this warmer period. Next week, we should be more warmer than normal for us. And as we zoom out and compare to the rest of the country, you can see a good chunk of the country is actually going to be cooler than normal For us, we're going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum as we continue to warm up. As far as our precipitation, for the most part, we are also looking to see parts of the Northwest seeing some pretty dry conditions. We're kind of in that middle zone right there. Other parts of the country looking to see some wetter conditions as well. So watching that pretty closely, just because this will be heading with some of our things that we'll be watching into next week. But we also need to talk about our weather pattern as we head into tomorrow with this weather impact alert and why we are expecting these breezy to gusty winds. Now, we mentioned that ridge of high pressure. That is right here. You can see it right there. As this continues to stay right there, we're keeping track of another weather system moving in through here, bringing a trough into the British Columbia. We're also, and that's expected to bring a dry cold front moving through the region. Not a lot of moisture is expected with this, but because of that change in our weather pattern and our change in our pressure gradient, we also start to see that chance for breezy to gusty winds moving in for us. And then after that, we're looking to see temperatures and conditions staying mostly quiet for us. But because of our change in our forecast, this has prompted some watches and warnings. Still tonight, there is a heat advisory that's in effect for parts of the Columbia Basin until 10 o'clock tonight. They were seeing highs into the 90s for today, and they were expecting highs throughout the region to about 95 to 100 degrees. So it was certainly hot today. That continues to dry out our vegetation. Now, as we head into tomorrow, though, we do also have a wind advisory that kicks off tomorrow morning for another part of our area. This includes the Wenatchee and Waterville Plateau area. This kicks off at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Will stay in effect until 11 tomorrow night for Tuesday for some breezy to gusty winds. According to the National Weather Service, they're expecting winds coming out of the west of about 25 to 35 miles per hour. Gusts could be up to about 50 to 55 miles per hour locally. So keep that in mind. That is expect to be one of our places most hit by the wind. As for the rest of the region, this impacts a wide range across the inland Northwest and eastern Washington. You can see we have a red flag warning that goes into effect tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Will stay in effect until 11 p.m. with those westerly winds and gusts up to about 45 miles per hour and low relative humidity. So you can just see just how widespread it is. Now, when it comes to our fire weather danger, this is one of our weather models through our system WSI. And you can see as we head into tomorrow, this is what we could be seeing as far as our fire weather danger. So it matches up well with our red flag warning that we're keeping track of. As we head into our afternoon hours, that's when we start to see more of that fire danger continue to pick up for us from what we're expecting right now, eventually dying down. But still, we've got dry conditions, and that does impact us even as we head into Tuesday or into Wednesday throughout parts of our region, particularly towards the Cascades. So watching that pretty closely just for the next few days. Now, as for our winds for tomorrow, that's really one of the reasons why we're keeping track of this. So because of how dry it is, when we see these winds pick up, it really has a chance to just, if a fire starts, just take off. So here's what we're expecting for today. For the most part, we've just had light winds. Tomorrow, we're looking to see those breezy, gusty winds pick up, especially as we head into our late morning hours, even more so as we head into our afternoon hours. Eventually, though, we are expecting those winds to start to die down for us, but you can see where we're expecting them to come out, especially out of the west right here. So watching that pretty closely, just because we are just seeing all the ingredients for our fire weather concerns for us. Now, already this season, we had fires pick up and kick off this weekend already. We had the Snake River fire near Clarkston. That started this weekend. We also had the OIE fire over in Benton County. This is burning between Prosser and the Tri-Cities right here. And as you can see, we've already seen those fire conditions start to present themselves and bring that possibility for fires to start, because we are very much already dry. Now, I note those fires in particular because as we head into tomorrow, as those winds pick up, we're also seeing a possibility for smoke to also be present, especially as we head into later tonight. Just be prepared. According to our weather models, we might actually pick up some of that haze into parts of our region and particularly the OIE fire from what we're seeing right here, just the placement of things. Even into tomorrow morning, possibly, maybe you can see some smoke in the air around Pullman and the Palouse. Keeping a close eye on that just because we haven't had those smoky skies just yet this season, but they are coming soon. This is all not great news because as you can see from our drought monitor, we've been dry across the region. Spokane is right on that line between abnormally dry and moderate drought. Some places are already in severe drought. Further south into eastern Oregon, they're seeing already extreme drought conditions. So watching that as we head into the next few days and especially into tomorrow. Now, as we take a look at our future tracker, we're looking at a lot of sunshine for tomorrow. Notice anything. Did you notice the lack of moisture and rainfall? We're not really expecting anything as far as rain as we head into the rest of this week. Even if we just roll this into Wednesday, there might be a few spots here and there throughout parts of our area, but not much, not enough to make it certainly a difference at all. And even into Thursday, we're expecting sunny skies for us. So it's looking to be looking like a pretty dry and warm trend for the next few days for us. Now, as we start tomorrow morning, just be prepared. Take a look at our forecast lows for tomorrow, mostly into the upper 50s. Some places could be into the 60s. It's going to be a warm start to the day for tomorrow, as you can see. So just be prepared for that. You might want to have your AC on for tonight, especially as you start waking up in the morning. Our forecast highs for tomorrow, about on par for today, maybe not quite as hot as what we were seeing as far as our temperatures around the region, especially towards central Washington and around the Columbia Basin right there, but still mostly into those 80s right there. Some places could still get up into the upper 80s. Looks like further south towards the Tri-Cities, still expected to be into the 90s for their forecast tomorrow. So it's still going to be warm. Just keep that in mind. Continue to hydrate, continue to do all the protections you need to also keep yourself safe in these hot weather conditions, but also make sure to take all the necessary precautions not to start a fire during this time here, just because we've been watching that so close and because of just how dry it has been from the lack of snowpack that we've had, the lack of precipitation that we have seen this season. It's been a rough one already, and we're continuing to watch that for you. Over the next 7 days, though, you can see that along with our temperatures, we're mostly tracking them into the 80s around the region. We've got that chance for mostly sunny skies tomorrow and those windy conditions. Again, that's why we have that weather impact alert in the first place. Closer towards the weekend, towards Juneteenth, looks like we're going to be in the mid 80s for that day. Father's Day could see us into the low 80s. So again, we are looking at some very warm and sunny weather for the next few days and very dry conditions. But we have that weather impact alert for our fire weather conditions. So do your part to make sure that everyone stays safe. And we hope that you have a safe Tuesday.